Hi, I'm Alex Silber at Papaya Tree Nursery. We're in the north end of the San Fernando Valley in Granada Hills, about 30 minutes or so north of Los Angeles. It's early April, the first few weeks of spring, and everything is popping. All the flowers and all the new foliage is coming out for the warm weather. Today we're going to talk about guavas, which I'm standing underneath here, and how to get the best fruit production on your guava tree. Guavas tend to have this rangy growth habit, and they tend to get up there in height, depending on which variety you have. And ideally, you'd like to keep a guava within fruit range, so you can be on the ground, not stand on a ladder. And I'm going to show you how to do that by pruning heavily. Don't be afraid to prune your guavas. You can really hack them. One of the main reasons for pruning a guava tree is accessibility to the fruit. The guava fruits on new wood, so you can prune heavily and it won't influence how much production you get. So not to worry. And as a matter of fact, even pruning as much as I'm going to suggest, and you're going to see shortly, that I recommend fruit thinning, and at least 50% of the fruit I remove. So production on guavas, that is if you get a good named variety, cultivar, is not an issue. And to improve and work off a quality product, that is improve the size of the fruit, of course, you prune heavily and thin heavily. You typically can get 4 to even 6 foot or even 8 foot long upright growth in just one season on an established tree, which this is behind me. This tree is almost 15 years old. And so you can remove, I would say 75% of that growth. So if, for example, if you have a 6 foot long shoot, you can remove it all the way down to 6 to 8 inches. But two good tools that you need, simply put, would be a hand pruner, a loper, and a fold-up saw. This is from here to all the way up. From this point on, this is last year's cut right here, this is the beginning of the previous year's growth, and this is last year's growth. I'm going to cut below that, right here. And you want to cut out at about a 45-degree angle, ideally. That's it. Here's another one right here. This can be removed altogether. Usually you don't hold this here. With these pruners, you can go into some of the thicker wood without using the fold-up saw. Here's an example. Guava wood is pretty soft, so it's pretty easy to cut. Well, little branches like this, they'll produce fruit, but they're not going to produce fruit worth talking about, so I remove those. And this, from this point on, this was last year's growth, all this wood right here. So I'm going to completely remove last year's growth. And there you have it. Here's another cut right here. I'm going to actually remove this branch altogether because it's inside. And I want to keep the inside of the canopy open to let light in. Whenever you're making cuts, you always want to remember to leave a little bit, a stub if you will. It's called a collar, a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch or so at the base, instead of cutting it flush. That will allow it to heal properly. Leave a little bit of a collar and nice clean boom. So you can see here I left about a 1/4 inch stub here called the collar. So you don't want to make flush cuts. You want to leave a little bit on there. There's material here that allows it to heal properly. So you don't want to remove that material. So leave what's called a collar whenever you do a cut. We're pretty much done now. The tree's about 7, 8 feet tall, and it gives you an idea just how aggressive you can prune this tree. You know you're doing a good job if you don't need to use this tool here because this is really only for small wood, this thing here. And if both feet are on the ground, you know you're cutting enough. You're only having access to the thick wood, or relatively thick wood. And that's what this comes in. Now, although this may look dramatic, what I've done here, about every 3 years or so, I go a step further, and I do actually rely on this tool because I'm going into the real heavy wood. It's called a rejuvenation pruning. So pretty much, I would go into wood either here or even to down here. So that's when you need this tool here to cut it. So if this were a rejuvenation pruning, I would actually cut right here, 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 just to give you an idea. Very heavy, heavy cuts. Now when you do that, you'll sacrifice to one degree or another some of the fruiting, but still get a wonderful crop. You'll still be fine. And then the following year, you'll get the full crop. And that's all you need to do to have access to your fruit, because we're only so tall, and that way you don't need a ladder.